think you've been talking
Abdul.
about, yeah, a particular thing, yeah, which I want to really talk about more. Some were talking about the limitations in getting remote jobs and remote roles, and you said it a lot of times that UK experience and it's because of the culture. So I expected that there'll be a lot of people asking how to get maybe international experience, or how to be able to get in even without experience. Yeah, and I know it might be maybe not within your field or your thing that you do so much, but what would you give as a tip to anyone trying to look for an international opportunity, either from Nigeria or wherever they are? How do you think they should approach that? If you know,
Do you know you mentioned something earlier about somebody that was headhunted.
yeah,
So it's so interesting that if you position yourself well on LinkedIn, actually somebody could headhunt you. You won't even have
mm,
to look for a job. It's like I like Abdul's, and I'm talking about Abdul because his question is on there.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like Abdul's CV on LinkedIn, and I like what he's showing on LinkedIn. So let me see if he can be available for this remote role that I have. There's
yeah,
loads of remote roles. Like I said, the competition is quite high, but the talent pool is wide as well.
mm,
So depending on how you position yourself, A, to a recruiter on LinkedIn, B, to the, you remember we said commercialize your brand, make yourself
mm,
sellable. So it doesn't matter. I've seen, and I want to give this specifically for people that are in Nigeria, for example, or outside of the UK. I've seen a lot of people that work from Nigeria, live in Nigeria, but the way they articulate themselves on LinkedIn doesn't look like they're in Nigeria. Why? Because they've just positioned their profile to look international.
mm,
So they branded themselves so well. How do they do that? Maybe the way they address an issue, how they've resolved their lack of jobs. I've seen people grow from zero followers to thousands of followers because they've said, this is how I solve this problem, this is what the issue is, and this is how I've done it. I think you gave that example as well. So when
yeah,
a
yeah.
recruiter is looking at your quality of what you're sharing, I've looked at a lot of people and I'm like, wow, this person, I want them on my team tomorrow. So it's not it's just how you position yourself and how you commercialize your brand, how you sell yourself, how you communicate. I think we've lost the Dr. Victor. I don't know if you can still hear me, but that's basically the summary. Like you can get in touch with me, and there's companies within the UK that are looking for remote people.
Oh, really? Wow, thank you very much for that. And I'm sure you would please expect a lot of people to try to reach out to you for this, because there are a lot of people, tons of people looking for remote opportunities. I don't like to promise that naturally, because I've not
Of
been in that
course, yeah.
space too much to know. But I mean, I'm happy that you know about organizations that are open to that. So I taught something just to complement what you said about 3 4 weeks ago. I don't know when, and I broke it down to the approach I would, something I would use, and that's learning from the experience of other people, and something I think would work. You mentioned already building on that storytelling and pushing yourself out there. LinkedIn is actually a big place, and there are a lot of opportunities here. And I have to firstly make people know understand the reality that people have to do this for about a year, 2 or 3 years sometimes before they break through. The idea is to keep showing
Mm,
up until you get the result. Yeah, it's quite difficult because there is a lot of competition. So because somebody asked the question, and so I'm going to just club the two together, asking that if you learn some of these tools in analytics within 6 months, are you able to get an international, role? I wouldn't say it's impossible, but the chance is actually very slim, because you're competing with others with years of experience, probably already in Nigeria, wherever you are, who are telling their story every day. So how long have you been showing up? And so I just break it down to firstly be ready to stay consistent for as long as you get a result. The second thing is try to start local. I know, yeah, the chance the opportunity is very scarce wherever you are in Nigeria, for example. And I said it because the awareness is low when it comes to the use of data, and the importance in terms of businesses. So organizations, small businesses don't even know how you can use data to help them. So you have to be the one to proactively walk up to them and tell them, I can help you improve your business doing A, B, and C. Sometimes they won't pay you either at all or really well. They won't. But you gain that experience to be able to stay confident in your field, keep refining your tools, understanding stakeholder management, communication, and all through that process. Then you move up to organizations that have a branch in Nigeria and a branch in the UK. And the beautiful aspect of it is that some of us who left Nigeria to the UK, now we are creating companies that we trust our people because, yeah, I'm a Nigerian. I'll give you an example. Josh on the background is actually in Nigeria, so he's working with me. You understand what I'm trying to say? I knew him right from that point, so I could trust him. Now, working from Nigeria with VVDex or London Center for Analytics on a CV, a UK company is enough trust for a UK company then to then take you in because they've seen that you have worked with a UK company. You probably understand the culture to an extent. So the idea is work with in Nigeria, then work with a Nigerian company that has or a UK company that has a branch in Nigeria. KPNG, for example, Deloitte and all these other guys, then it is very easy to cross from that point. They can trust you because they know, okay, this is an international organization. I know it's not very easy, but this is like a method that could work for you. But people don't want to start from the local. And there are a lot of local opportunities. In fact, one of these guys that I follow, quite a phenomenal guy, he said he has made more money in Nigeria than even working international, though he's in Nigeria. So it's just that
Mm,
the way he gets them, it's not just by doing the usual thing, the regular thing. He goes to meetings,
mm,
he goes to
yeah,
events and meets people there,
network.
connects with them, and that's another thing many of us are not doing. The same way we are scared of reaching out to recruiters, not calling them. Meanwhile, they are searching for you. I mean, that was what I wanted to say.
A
The
lot.
they need you, so you're making their work easier when you go to them. And I say this every time to my
Mm,
people, they're in search of you. Now imagine someone searching for you and then you showed up and say, this is me, I'm here. You make their life better, right?
yeah.
To them the same way you can walk up to CEOs. People are also very scared. They don't want to dare what in their mind they have not conceived that they can solve, and they think that the problem
Mm-hmm.
will come as prepared as it is in the boot camps or how you're doing it. Probably not. You get to the organization and you'll be the person to even start helping them to organize their sales, not even doing anything related to analytics. So you're just doing the raw
Mm,
stuff that now gives you the opportunity to do the analytics. But people don't know. If I anytime I'm consulting, maybe talking to people on their projects or organizations, they're not even data ready first. So the first thing is not even
mm,
about data. It's about them even understanding why they need that data analytics, why they're how they can even get to that point. You can start harvesting their data to make sense of it. And that's not analysis yet. It's still even more of discussions with the stakeholder to understand their pain points. So their pain point might not even be data related. It might just be you adjusting the
mm-hmm.
system, one of the things you do. Be ready to help them. Just solve problems. Organizations will pay you for it either immediately or later. Get that referral from one person, then let them tell you their friends that who did this for you. Yeah, that guy is quite a good guy. And then they'll come back to you say, my friend is asking for your digits. What should I tell them? Yeah, I'm open. How much would you charge? You didn't charge them something, but they now understand that they don't want to sell you again to somebody else without you getting paid. You understand? Because I've experienced that and I'm like, okay, okay, good. Then tell them this amount. Before you know it, you're building credibility, you're building confidence, you're building experience, and then boom, it happens. But this could take 1 year, 6 months, 3 years, or even 4 years. Consistency is actually very key in this. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that. I don't know if you want to add to it. We'll move to the next question. There.
Yes, and I agree. One thing I will give advice for people in Nigeria. So whilst we all want to work and get a salary, Dr. Victor mentioned volunteering earlier. We didn't delve into it. That is the most important thing to do. If you're
Mm,
outside of the country, don't always look at the money aspect as the key thing. Your key find is for you to create a role. One of the most important things that our data analyst shared the other day on VIP was that you need to see the future now, have a visual and a career path. So of course you want to go into data analyst, like you want to be a data analyst now. You want to be this now. Is that exactly what you want to be in 10 years time? So if you don't know what you want to be, create start to create a path that won't drag you or end up boring you. Why I'm saying this is because once you visualize the end, you start to take steps back towards the beginning. So when you see, of course, recruiters will recruit you for a salary, but there's other businesses, right? I've said businesses, so this is not recruitment now. It's like companies that, as you said, Make the data make sense for that company. Look for a problem within that company and ask how you can solve it for them. Offer your service for free. You are in Nigeria, they're in the UK, they need you. You have a solution to their problem. They probably won't let you work for free, but chances are, if you've offered for free, they will say, let's see how you get on. If you did magic because you went and studied these things and you've really taken your time and invested in your qualifications and and your knowledge, a company can even say to you, oh wow, we want to ship you. So this is mean, I'm not trying to say that's going to happen to everyone, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying that that's how much value given receives. I don't know if everybody on the call reads, whether it's the Bible or you have faith in some way or the other, but it says, give and it shall be given back to you. So that is a law in the universe that was created by God.
Mm-hmm.
Give and it will be given back to you. It doesn't just work for church, it works for jobs. People
Mm-hmm.
sometimes have the mistake of coming in with, this is what I have on my CV, and I'm just going to do my job 9 to 5, it's done, I'm going home. But I think when you go above and beyond the expectations of that role, it tends to draw certain things for you as well. So I'm saying this to just add to that you've said, make yourself as available as possible, but don't always be keen to say, I want a job that will give me 50K in the UK, and that's what you want. Yet you don't have the first few steps. So the 3 and 4 years that Dr. Victor's mentioned, it takes few steps first. So those few steps involve volunteering, presenting yourself as somebody who is data driven, but you also want to be impactful and help the organization make decisions. CEOs, managers of companies sometimes don't know why there's a problem, but it's there. You should be the one that comes in to be the decision making and solver. So if
Mm-hmm.
that becomes your passion and you focus on impact within that organization, you have sold yourself. So I think people should drive away from the salary banding and focus on how to change that company's trajectory. If they see how you're going to do it by you showing us reports on Power BI and saying, this is how much we're losing, but when we do things this way and this process changes, this is how we're going to, no one's going to fire you and people will be ready to hire you. So I think it goes back to the storytelling. It goes back to how you present yourself, your business cases that you bring. I said, commercialize your CV, commercialize yourself as a brand, and a lot of things will start to become easier.
Wow, it's been such a great evening, I must say. A lot of insight being dropped here. Thank you very much again, Lerato, for this and for the insights given. And I understand people anyway, because some will be on this call saying, "Oh, how do I feed if I have to? How do I survive? If I have to volunteer
Mm,
for how long?" And true, you meet people that wants to take advantage of you.
of
That's really,
course.
yeah. Imagine somebody working as an intern for like 3, 4, 5 years. I'm like, how now? How did you come to that?
No,
Yeah, and
no.
some will be, and then you volunteer for like 6 months, and they are still telling you, well, something and all, and they know that they're using you and you're getting results. So it happens.
Mhm.
And it's not really easy, I know. But then you just have to do it until you learn, you know the right person to talk to. And said CEOs, company owners, business owners don't even know the problem sometimes. They just need somebody who can solve it. And so you have to be very proactive. There's a question which Ayomide asked earlier, and it's more like tying it to the question about if a degree thing the other time when we are talking about projects and all, but I think he had to refine it in his own way, which makes sense. Can we get a role in data analytics without having a degree in statistics, computer science, or data analytics? I did a course, I have a bachelor's in another field, not related to tech. The answer is pretty straightforward, but let me hear that to, say something about it. Yeah.
I like that he says the answer is straightforward. Maybe I should throw this back in. I want to hear your answer to this one first, and then I'll give my own take.
Okay, because I always love to speak from experience, yeah, because
Yeah.
I've been able to help a lot of people, mentor them to get roles. Usually the experience is what matters. In the
Mm,
UK, where they talk about UK experience, that is why we created our platform LCFA, and then give them the opportunity to work with VividX, on the side. So they're working on Vividex clients, the non-profit. When you gain real experience, it wouldn't matter your degree again, because there's a great disconnect between what we studied in school most of the times and what the industry is like. I usually say because the curriculums were built long before now, and some of them, as much as they try to update them, the world is moving faster. So you are done in school and then you can't even really connect it, or even if you try to, it's not just direct. So it doesn't matter your starting usually. I say to people, "Oh, degree in statistics, I've really placed a lot." There's a lady currently interviewing. She has a law background, law, like law first degree, second degree. But when it comes to data, she knows her thing. And because she has learned through experience, she's getting a lot of experiences within the domain already, that once she's at an interview speaking, it doesn't matter. She had that doubt and fear too, I must be honest with you, when she started. However, when she went for, there was a particular interview she went for, and then the interviewer told her that I studied maybe psychology myself. So it doesn't really matter. The other thing is that we have transferable skills from all these other domains. So, and which is good. Data doesn't exist in isolation. We use
Mm.
data fields in actually different fields. So if you have like biology background, you it will make sense to you when you start analyzing data that relates to that, like in biology space. If you have, let's say, medicine as a background, you didn't even study computer science or statistics. When you start analyzing data within that domain, it makes a difference to you. Like there's a difference when you read it. You understand it not just by the numbers. You understand the concept behind it. If you study chemistry and then you move into data analytics, and in my first company, I worked on sensors, and what we're trying to analyze is pollutants. It took me, like, they had to train me on how to, remind me of some things in chemistry, right? For me to start to analyze the data. Thank God I had a very lovely interest in chemistry while I was in school. So I didn't struggle with that a lot. But this is the idea. Data doesn't exist in isolation. It exists in domains. So whatever domain you are coming from, can you connect data with it? Once you can connect it, that's fine. Whatever domain, even in music, we analyze data. So it doesn't matter. But for you who doesn't have a background, it's a plus anyway. Having a background makes things probably easier or faster. So whatever it is that you need to learn, double down on it. I say to people, there's no genius in my own way in space. There's an amount of learning that has gone in place that people don't know. Insane amounts of learning before they became experts in that domain, and they call them geniuses. My point is, even if you don't know here today, you can spend an insane amount of time doing that thing, that you know it so much, even than the person that was born into it. Because if you don't practice, what's the difference? If you don't, use your skill often. So if you don't know data, or you did not start from computer science, that's fine. Have you learned a lot? Have you practiced a lot? Can you prove that you understood data beyond just the computer science or the statistics? Once you can do that, you have a chance in the field. So that's my said. Every day, no, it doesn't matter. Just switch and learn very well. Over to you, Lepato. I know.
I like that answer. I know it's a long answer, but I'll give this
Yeah.
typical example. For example, HR analytics is increasing and AI is
True.
increasing. Not a lot of
Mm,
us have that background. Like some people might not have AI background because it's a new thing. Some might not have the HR background because you've never really delved into HR. But there's data in HR, you can imagine. So I personally, that question when I'm reading it, it talks about me, and I can easily, go like we have already mentioned numerous times here that yes, get the boot camps, get the courses done, so that then you
mm,
can demonstrate certain types of skills. Your basic understanding of data and how you can actually quantify it to be able to show what you're reporting and what it means or what the impact it is. So once your story is told properly and how you relate what your field is to the tech or the data that you're talking about, looking for that job might not be as hard as you think. So it's not closed doors. It doesn't mean that you need to have such a massive background. I think one of the things that I see is that data is just something that has always been recorded or collected, but it feels like now more than ever, it's being done a lot more. I believe because we are growing economically, whether as a country, as a nation, as a, in the globe. So our perspective of how we gather data has changed over years. So it's the what's the word? The world is revolving. That's why now more than ever, there's more drive towards collecting data, analyzing it, and making it make sense
Hmm.
to your CEO, your key stakeholders. So if you come from a different field that's not tech, it doesn't affect you getting into that role. It just means you have to work harder to get the proof and the story that you're using to actually be qualified for that role.
Hmm. Thank you very much for that. And so, for whatever domain you're from, you're even a better person in that domain because you can learn the data skill, right? Acquire it, but you might not be able to get the domain knowledge within a short time compared to
Mm-mm.
somebody who have been in that domain, like you, for example, years of experience in your field. Me coming as a data analyst, I'm just a data analyst. You understand the data, you understood what it's trying to say, you can
Mm,
connect it back to the business faster than I myself. And by the time you learn the data skill, you are just even far better in the domain than even myself. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Ah, yeah, we're looking at time and then we're going to round up very soon. I know people have been asking, and somebody said thank you for analyzing the question to perfect understanding. And then a comment from Remy was saying that people should really tell apart. Are you trying to escape, joblessness, or you really want to break into the field? Because yeah, I've seen that kind of question
True.
recently. Yeah, so it's good that they clarified that. Yeah, people reach out to me to say
Yes.
I need sponsorship before February. Can I break into data analytics and get sponsored? And I say most of the time no, because not to say it's not possible, but I don't want you to
Mm,
start making yourself feel, I mean, don't make me feel uncomfortable because I told you that it is possible. I'm just trying to say, get the skill
yeah.
first, get into the field, prove your worth, and then let's tell if we
Prove
can
your
we can
worth.
sponsor you or not. Before you start to say I need it before February. You're not the one. You're not timing the market. You know, you can't time the market. Yeah, good. Ah, thanks a lot for this. It's been a great evening.
Yeah, man.
I actually wrote down a lot of questions, but I'm happy that people are asking their own questions, and it ties down to
Yeah.
there's a connection between the questions. Maybe one or two questions from my end, which I think would be very, very good for us to tackle, and then we move. Um, it's still about the portfolio because somebody asked earlier, and it says, "How do recruiters access the credibility of portfolio projects?" Like I said, those kind of analysis we did on ourselves, call it self experience, self-reporting, analytics, those things we do. How do you access them? Do you think they really count as much as people talk about them? You know, and how do you as a person would access that?
That's an interesting one. So it just depends, I suppose, on that recruiter and the role they want to place you in. So I
Mm,
think if the role is very data driven, maybe say this is just an example, say it's a big organization and they really want to see your ability to create data from from wherever you start from, whether you're collecting it from a source and being able to report it back as written words, that makes sense. When you are able to demonstrate that, I suppose, depending on how you use it or how you do the demonstration or how you create your portfolio,
mm,
um, yeah, it definitely is useful. So organizations will vary, and I think that's when the requirement for that portfolio will differ. So when an organization wants a proof and they want to see that you definitely you do what you say you can do, then they'll want the portfolio. But some organizations might not. There's that element of it's similar to LinkedIn. Some organizations might not even look you up on LinkedIn, and you'll be surprised that there's organizations that actually don't. So LinkedIn is also part of your portfolio, by the way. So that's why we're saying start telling the stories because it builds a certain algorithm about you. So it varies, and I think it's not the be all and end all, but a lot of people would want to use that just so that you stand out. I believe some of these things that we start to create as extra things is just so that you stand out and you show that you've made yourself more skillful. You want to master your craft. And I think it's important what you've just said now, that there's a difference between someone who wants to go into a role just to be come out of joblessness, where that drives their career path. So when someone is creating a career path for themselves, they curate so many different types of evidence that they are able to do this job. They say strive for
Mm,
mastery, right? So when you're still in that process of striving, what steps are you taking to get to mastering, to get to that level where we can say, wow, this one is a master achieve. So I think it's it varies depending on what the organization is looking for. Don't downplay it. Always do your best to bring everything to the table. I think I've said this already. Always do your best to bring everything that you can to the table, pull from everywhere. So anything that you do, whether you do it as a volunteer, whether you do it for a project that you're doing a case study for, whether you're doing it working with a different organization that's not necessarily doing data, but you yourself started to assess and start to see that this organization needs A, B, C, and D. I remember I've worked for a company, you'll be surprised. I worked for a company called Spire Recruitment, which
mm,
was, well, Spire, which is a hospital, but I worked in the recruitment team. So when we were in the recruitment team, I used to be able to relay some of the data and information just for my own knowledge and be able to assess it, and just learn and understand data from the recruitment aspect. It wasn't part of my role. I was just doing it for myself, just to learn. So always be excited about learning. I believe that's what matters, and show that you're crafting a career path for yourself. Your passion will shine. Your passion will show through your portfolio, and people will see beyond that.
wow. Thank you so much. Just one. I think maybe majorly the last one for you, just for you to like give us a different image of what how they see you as somebody heading the HR department, like the director of HR and all, and through your years of experience. I know there are common misconceptions about candidates, about how they see recruiters that you would like to clear. What are the maybe just one misconception about how they see you, how candidates see you that you want to clear?
Wait, please. I miss I miss. I want to know this question. What did you say? Ask it again. I couldn't
Exactly. What is
hear you
one
properly.
misconception that candidates have about recruiters that you want to clear, that you would like to clear up today? Yeah, maybe the way they see you, and then you think, no,
Ooh,
it's not like that. Yeah.
that is interesting. Well, we probably mentioned some of them. So people don't like to communicate with the recruiter. They think a recruiter is just somebody that's just going to give them bad feedback. But once you've got that positive energy, you know that, look, I'm looking for this job. And like I gave that example, the illustration of Josh, like, call Josh, tell Josh I want to meet Josh at such and such a place for a cup of tea or over Teams. Then you come out of that misconception of thinking that a recruiter is like a nurse who's carrying an injection and they just want to prick you and scare you. You come to a place where you resonate, and you bounce the energy off each other, and you become
Mm,
friendly. I think recruiters are not people. It's not so much the recruitment that I would actually give that answer for. It's more for HR. It's more in that space where people think HR is like a judge. It's someone that looks at you and thinks you are just about to fire them from that role. But that's generally not it's a misconception depending on the person. So some HR people are very friendly. Some HR people would love, they vouch for the people within the organization as much as they vouch for the organization. And I'm one of them, by the way. So so that's, I think I'd give it like that. So recruitment is tricky because, like I said, the recruiter wants you as much as you need them. So
mm,
it's a good marriage, that one. It can be easy song and dance. But when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to HR, that's the one where I find that people are like so scared of HR. I remember there was a time I never used to be invited to work parties. Like, if people are going out to do work parties because they want to be silly, they wouldn't invite me because they'll be thinking Lerato is going to judge us with her HRI. But no, I'm a very social person outside of work. They should have invited me, right? So these are some of the things that I've struggled with within HR.
wow, thank you so much. It seems they don't want you to go. There are two questions here, and I don't know. Can you take them before you leave? Yeah.
That's fine.
So
So each question will be 1 minute, I suppose.
yeah, yeah. So it said open to work badge. We discussed this yesterday, and I asked you about it. Yeah, open to work badge. That green badge around the neck. How do you feel about it? Like. Is this something people should use? Does it matter at all? Does it really attract opportunities to you in any way? I mean, I feel somehow about it.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think from our conversation we said it. We said, look, if you I think we gave the illustration of if you're married and then you go on a dating site, it's like just keep to your marriage, stay at home. So it's really it's interesting because like I've been saying, the way you market yourself is important. And I think
Mm,
open to work it starts to tell a different story about you from what you are saying. Maybe you're already saying,
mm,
"Why I'm currently in this role, or I'm currently doing this, and this," and then suddenly you're open to work. So it opens up a flood of questions which you might not want to see. But yes,
mm,
genuinely speaking, if you're open to work and you feel like you've looked for so long, sometimes maybe that can be a tool that you can use. It's a tool that they've put there on LinkedIn. But whether or not that makes a difference to a recruiter, I don't think so personally. I don't
mm.
think so. So it doesn't really make much of a difference in terms of getting that job that you want. It doesn't. It's just a tool.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. And this same question, similar to what I would have thought about, why did recruiter ask for your current pay? And why didn't they just go ahead and tell you what they want to offer you or what they are offering for the role they are recruiting for?
So as we've continued to say on this call, a
Yeah.
recruiter needs you as much as you need them. And you guys
Mm,
don't understand that there's so much information that the recruiter wants from you than you know. So when a recruiter wants to recruit for, say, for example, Dr. Victor's working for KPMG, and that recruiter has never recruited for KPMG, but they're now recruiting you for a different role because you are leaving KPMG. The recruiter wants to understand the salary banding for your role within that sector, within that company, and within, say if you're in KPMG and you're working in the finance data team. So they want to understand what KPMG is about using you. So when they asked that question originally, it's not for you, it's not about you. But at the
mm,
same time, it creates a salary bracket for you. But having said that, and I said this a few times now, that what you desire, what you want as your salary banding, you should be confident enough to justify and say,
mm,
I'm moving from a 22.5, what's the word, 22,500 pound role, and I want to go to that role that's 30,000 because within the last 6 months to a year, I've worked on this, and this certification on top of my academic experience. So I feel like I'm ready to jump and have that leap. So once you're able to justify why you're taking the leap from the 22 and a half to 30K, 30K to 80K or whatever, you should be able to at least justify that so that that recruiter doesn't say to you, no, I can't recruit you. I can't look for roles for you that are way above 30. When you approach a recruiter, they ask you that question very quickly. How much you get currently? How much are you looking to get paid? And they will justify, they will obviously talk back at you. You guys might have an argument of why you think you are qualifying for that leap. But in the end, the recruiter needs you anyway. So they will place you at the salary bracket you've requested. So you just have to be confident and quantify yourself or qualify yourself rather.
I feel so uncomfortable about that. I wonder if it is right or wrong to ask, like you said. But as people want to be honest, you gave us a very good approach. Like tell them what you currently earn, and then tell them what you're looking out for. But what if you've tried it before and then you realize that you could have just come back to come and benchmark you on something either exactly the same as what you told him you're earning or her, or let's say just a little above it, because now he knows that okay, you're not earning up to this before, so you should feel happy about it. It just makes me comfortable, and I think a lot of people here, and you're like, no, I
Yeah.
was just being
Yeah.
honest with you. Yeah, so
Hmm.
how do you think people should handle that? Because can you tell who would benchmark you on and who would sincerely just okay help you go find a role that matches your skills? And they can even tell
Hmm.
you, oh, sorry, we are only taking 25K for the role. And they will ask you right there, even though you said you want 30, will you be able to move forward? And you will start to wonder, what if I said, okay, if I say, okay, maybe really I'm okay with that. Wouldn't they think, oh, wasn't even sure what he was looking for in the first place? I just negotiated and he just, dropped it quickly without even pushing it further. So you want to prove like, okay, I know what I want and I want to stick with that. but somebody who's desperately in need of a role, so he's like, what if I lose this opportunity? you know, what if another one doesn't come? So how do you? I mean, it's still like
Yes,
number
yes.
one. How do you get that? Yeah,
It's
but
a mind game. It's a mind game. Yeah. It's a mind game, and I think whilst the sometimes of course organizations might push back to the recruiter and say that's the maximum we can pay, it's a mind game. Depending on, so you see, that's another thing. Like we said, if you're moving with desperation and looking from a place of lack, then you tend to just jump for anything and you accept anything you're given. But if you know that you are full of experience, you're wise, you know, and you look at your personal experience, well, personal circumstances as well, is a job that's paying you if you are leaving the job that's paying you 22 and a half grand per year, you definitely are leaving it partly because of that salary. It's not enough for you and your family. So your decision can be financial. So if someone wants to give you something that doesn't suit you and your financial circumstances, then there's no reason for you to take that job. It's not worth your time or your worth. Trust, if you go there, you leave. So you need to take a job that actually quantifies what you've worked hard for. Because remember, another issue that we have, and I know life is changing now, is the gaps in our CVs. So if you're working in jobs that don't fulfill you, you work, and then want to leave, work, and want to leave. And then that also, we haven't covered this part, by the way. So maybe we need a part two. When recruiters look at people that have just leaped from role to role, and your
mhm,
jobs were not contract roles, and there's no real justification of why you're jumping from role to role, that's
mhm,
another minus.
really.
That's a discredit on your CV. So if you worked somewhere and you say my contract was 3 months, okay, fine. But what were you specifically said to be there for? So jumping from job to job can look bad on a CV.
So how much time do you expect, or would you advise one should spend on a particular role before it stop making sense and it start looking like you're jumping around? How many months or years, if it's not a
So
contract
I think
role?
years are good. If it's not a contract role, years, go with years. Like go with as many years as you can in a row. Remember that when it comes to the UK, I don't know about other countries. After a 2 year, if you stay for 2 years in a company, you now get more HR or like what is it called, employee rights. But if you keep
Mm,
jumping, you don't have employee rights, so your job is not protected. You can leave anytime, the company can fire you anytime. You are just not keeping yourself in that secure position. And financially, guys, it affects us and I think it affects us as Black people more than it does other people.
mm,
Remember, we talk about experience as we start. When we started talking, we're saying, how can I get experience? For you to get better experience in something, stay there and strive to master it. Don't be leaving
mm,
because of the money and because you now came because were moved by emotion and you said, let me just emotionally move to that job. But it attracted you because of the money. It kind of wastes your time jumping from row to row. Only
true.
the only value that comes from that is that you know in your head what you're looking for. You want the jumping from one company to the other, which will give you experience. Say you get 6 months here, you get 6 months there. Within a year, you've got 1 year's experience in the actual field, not the raw. Then when you go to something that suits you better financially for that time, stay for a year, stay for a year and a half. Because the 3 months and 6 and 4 months roles, you might list a good number of them before someone has actually seen you as somebody that will stay, because everyone that sees your CV with many roles thinks you won't stay in their company. So why should they hire you?
Mm, mm. Thank you so much. Thank you for this. I think this final question was really because of the other one, like somebody who's not even earning before, and he's trying to say, I'm just ready to take anything, or is it okay if
Hmm.
you are not moved by the pay, but you want to learn more? What do you say to them? You don't have a current pay, you are literally not working. Does that really even sound well on them that you are not working at the moment? You don't have a job, you're just a beginner. Do people even take beginners or entry level again?
Oh, of course. Look, entry level is an advantage to the business because they are getting skill for cheap. So obviously, they'll be happy for you to say the statement. It's okay to say you are not moved by the pay, you want to learn more. That is a valid point. Any organization, if you went with that answer to the interview, would take you firsthand, especially if you show that you've learned from the studies perspective, you've attained skills through learning, but now you want to
Mm.
learn within that role. So yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it, or that's a good way of coining it to say you're not yet looking for money, you're looking for experience.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that answer. And to cover it up so that we jump off and let you go. Because I have not allowed you to take your coffee since you said you're a coffee person, but you've only had a sip when we started, and maybe because the conversation got
Yeah,
very serious and then you just decided to focus. Thank you
it
for
went
that.
all.
Okay, yeah. So cover letters. Does anybody read cover letters? I don't recommend it. I don't like it anyway. Like I see it as a waste of time sometimes, right? Especially
Life
when you
has moved.
see 600 people, applying for a job, and then you writing cover letters. Do they even read the cover letters, or they just reject about 200, about 580 first before they shortlist only 20? And then do they then go ahead with 20 cover letters, or they still, I'm like, okay, do anybody even read
No.
cover letters, or it's just more of a filter or something? Do you really do cover letters?
So also that one is dependent on organization. So some organizations want a cover letter just because some people's CVs don't have a profile summary. So if
Hmm.
you've got a profile summary, you don't need to do a cover letter because that's your cover letter. I think
Interesting.
old school organizations, the bigger ones, are the ones that want cover letters just because it's part of the recruitment process.
Matter. Wow. All right.
Mm.
Thank you very much, people. And if you've been blessed by this, section, so much knowledge, inspiration, and so much information gotten, insights for the week, I think you should start dropping your thumbs ups, start saying thank you for this moment. Thank you so much, Lerato. It's been, oh man, a lot. Like I said, a lot to go with. And definitely, people, if you still want to watch a replay of this, you can go to LinkedIn, and this will be on YouTube as well. Just search for Dr. Victor
Oh, great.
Adekele. Yeah, and I would also, I wouldn't, Lerato, you can actually get the raw copy of this as well. If you want it to be a
Perfect.
conversation, you're probably going to be making reference to. I will say to people, a lot of shots will be taken from this so that you can have like specific questions, and we just grab your kind of answers for them. It's going to bless a lot of people, and I think it's enough for them to take into the week and then just go and transform their job application experience. And thank you so much. And for people who are on this call and you're about to start and you don't know where to go, or you're already on the journey, you've started, you're looking, reach out to Lerato, connect with her, search for IRHOS recruitment. You can see it on her profile. Um, I mean, she has done a lot, and you know that she loves you to get a job actually. So if you want to bank on somebody that will place you in a role as quickly as possible, or let me say a role that would befit you, talking about interacting with a recruiter, maybe you should start from her. Please don't bombard her with, kind of, can you get me a job? Like she said, build the rapport first. Let her know you. Let her exercise you up. Build that relationship rapport, right? And then when you
Rapport.
rapport, build a rapport, and then go ahead and build on top of that. Get to access the network, our network, and I'm expecting testimonies after, weeks and months from here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't worry, I've been going to church
Yes.
with. Apologies for that. Today is Sunday.
It is definitely, of course. No, we can't wait for the testimonies, guys. We definitely want to see this.
Exactly.
I did say to Dr. Victor that this is our own form of evangelizing because we're
Mm,
trying to push the soldiers of the Lord towards the right roles that we, as the word of God says, we will possess our possessions as the daughters and sons of Jacob. So that's
mm,
basically where we are. So I think I definitely agree with that there'll be testimonies here because there's a way that God has, given us something in our spirits. Our talents are one of them. So if we hide our talents, then how else can we prove that we are the children of God? So this is definitely a talent, guys. As far as your technical, yes, do the right things, communicate well, build rapport, create a story, communicate on your LinkedIn. I suppose some of you might not even have like a what is it called, LinkedIn optimization tool.
mm, mm, mm.
Find those right now and rush and do that. I think there's a gentleman that asked, I still don't remember that. that platform. Sorry, but I'll find it for him and I'll share it. Follow me and I'll share it with you as soon as I remember. When I get off this call, I'll look for the a better, like a better tech, where you can find better tech roles. But get in touch with me. I'm quite connected to a few companies that can be looking for something that you have.
Thank you so much, Lerathu, because it's been a long day. Might allow you to go
I
now.
know.
And,
Thank you so much for your time.
thank you so
Love
much.
you, love
Yeah,
you, love you. Thank
love
you.
you. Bye. Yeah.
Yes, bye, bye, bye.
Bye. Okay. So people, just for the sake of those who are trying to get into the field, and I want to give you this wrap, like to wrap this up with you. If you have been trying to get in, or you've started already, you've done some things, attended schools, yeah, boot camps, and all. You might not have I might not have the opportunity to share this with you again about how you should, tailor your journey from here. You've had a lot from the recruiters. You've had a lot from the consultant with years of experience in the field, so he can tell you what it looks like, when it comes to their own side and how they see you. I think also you should also fix your own side of the game, meaning that no matter the information you get from here, if you lack the basic skills like the requirements, you might struggle a lot. And I would give you my framework, which is called the LIFT framework, as you can see here. And the L, which is learn the foundation, I, which is the implement, the F is the frame. And you can see she said the framework, framework, frame your experience, tell your story rightly. And the last part is where the transformation comes in. And that comes through experience, real experience. I know somebody asked a question about portfolio the other time. It's not because not like I don't like portfolios. In fact, I built them when I was, when I started learning. The idea about portfolio is that these days you're competing with people who claim they have experience or they do actually have experience, but because of the job market, they are out there searching like you. How do you compete with them? How do you really compete with them? That's the question. How do you compete? So if you go out there to say, I've been playing in my room and I've been playing with this data set and this is all I have, it's okay to be able to tell a story and helps you to actually fine tune, improve your communication and think. That is what portfolio projects are for in my own way. Yes, you could get one or two persons or recruiters who says they got attracted to your profile because of your portfolio project. The question you should ask is, are you even checking the click rate? How many people actually click that link that you attach? As a data professional, you should be able to track that. Try this week. That link, that portfolio project link, see, try to analyze the clicks. Find a way to connect that. You can do that with a lot of tools out there to know the visit rate. Is it even converting? Is anybody looking at it? So for you to know if they're not looking at your profile, they're not looking at your portfolio. So you want to be attractive. Before they even go into your portfolio, they want to see on your LinkedIn, on your CV that it makes sense. Portfolio is not the first thing they see. So if you have experience on your CV, they might not even care about the portfolio as much. I stopped using it, even though I beat some then. It doesn't make sense to me again now. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do them. If you are just starting for every reason, every good reason, you need to start. Build portfolios. Okay. But for you to scale in this current market, go after experience. So I'll walk you through this framework, and it's a 5 months plan. If you're somewhere in the middle of it, you probably will need to spend only 3 months. But depending on where you are, just pick yourself in your journey, like know your spot from on the journey, and then build from there. First is this: I recommend boot camps, structured programs. I recommend either free or a lot of them are online. But if you find it difficult to self-learn your way through, I think you should go for a structured program that has timelines. Because when you go for free programs, what happens is that if in fact you go on YouTube, there's so many information there. And information overload is what is causing so many of you to start and stop. And this is where mentorship is actually very, very important. It helps you save out what you should learn and what you shouldn't learn. I made this mistake when I started. I was just jumping from one to two. I was on 8 boot camps at once. And I learned a lot, but I got confused at the end of the day. And it didn't change anything for me until when I got to know what works. And now this is why I've created the opportunity for you. Working, on the background with non-profit on my weekends, to create that opportunity for people to gain real experience. So if you're in the UK, this is for you. But then it doesn't stop there. You still need to know how to do other things. So I'm going to walk you through, like I said, one after the other. The first is that you learn the basic skills. This is based on what the market is asking for. Majorly in the UK, you need Microsoft Excel. You need SQL. SQL appears 20 times and 16 times out of 20. Microsoft Excel 12 times. Power BI, I say that again, it appears about 10 times and followed by Python. You know R and Tableau. Tableau and Power BI, they are, side by side. But I think Power BI, especially in this part of the world, is raining more, and because it's just Microsoft ecosystem, so it's quite easy, to integrate that into their currently existing Microsoft stack. So then you do live project based learning, not just that. Just said that, oh, come on, stop people. Is it bicycle or bike sharing data sets? It's everywhere. DoorDash and all those things. Unless you're able to go in depth and you begin to see analysis from another angle, you begin to do things that relate to businesses, they won't call you. So your project should be relating to their kind of problems. Where you are doing customer lifetime value, you are doing market share, you are doing some other things that has to do with retention and all sort of things. You really analyzing real data that makes sense. You are thinking with clarity and trying to understand what businesses are looking for. Sales analytics, product, because businesses exist for profit. So if they're going to make profit, they need to sell. So you should understand those kind of KPIs around the sales analytics, products, analytics, markets analytics, businesses. You build portfolio projects. I mean, from the beginning, as on the boot camp, like I said, this is just to fine tune your communication, to also go, to get to a level when it comes to analytics. This doesn't really solve the problem at the end. For some, it has worked, but can you count the number of people it worked for? And this is what I'm saying, go for experience. Once you start doing this, you should start posting, start talking about what you're learning, what you're doing, the knowledge you're gaining, how you're thinking through it. And that is what Lerato has been saying the other time. Learn to frame your problems. I mean, the problems you are solving. Learn to tell your story. Brand yourself. Build a brand for yourself. It's more important now than ever before. Build a brand for yourself on LinkedIn. It's very easy to stand out. 1% of 1 billion people is posting every day on LinkedIn, or let me say showing up regularly. That means if you join the 1%, easily you will go up the ladder and you'll be very noticeable. Some of us are here on this call and you're saying it's not working. Question is, how long have you been showing up consistently with the right information, not just logging into LinkedIn every day, liking somebody's post and just applying for jobs. You post once today and the next 3 weeks you are no more there. Build consistency, even if it's just one per week. That makes sense. For a start, then build. It's not about content. This is not content creation. It's not social media. I mean, all the social media platforms. It's LinkedIn. You are there strategically to actually attract the right people to yourself, to your business, or to whatever you want. That means recruiters, CEOs, or partners, clients. Okay. If you are into freelancing, you can do the same thing. If you are looking for remote jobs, LinkedIn is a place to use. You are open to a lot of people from all the parts of the world, if you think about it very well. And they wake up different times. So if you are posting content and you are trying to attract people in a particular place, you need to look at the time they're active as well. You know, and if you go on link, I'm sorry, on Google, you can see the days people are active. On Monday is quite different. On Tuesday it is different because people are going to work on Monday. They are quite busy with work. They don't come online until some other time, maybe in the afternoon or so. This don't take my word for it because it's not like there's actually a particular time to post, but you need to understand your audience to know when to get them. So that's the idea. You have to post strategically. You're putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself in their minds. Then learn how to rewrite your CV. Your CV, there should be a match between your CV, summing up everything Relato said. If you don't know how to do this, there's an opportunity for you to learn it. And this is what I teach. This is part of what we teach at London Center for Analytics. We don't only teach you, projects or how to work on, real life stuff, SQL, Power BI, and all. We teach you how to really weave your CV in, like how to weave them into your CV in a proper way. I don't joke with professional summary, and I'm happy she mentioned it. Professional summary is what you need to actually summarize all your experiences in 6 seconds. Reading your CV should catch the attention of the recruiter. Okay, then we teach you how to interview. Apart from building a lovely LinkedIn CVs, you can get calls and you don't know how to convert them to jobs. That's because you don't know how to negotiate, how to converse, how to communicate, how to even sell yourself. Your storytelling is not there. And this is something you need to build over time. But you need to read out to somebody. You need somebody to tell you if you are doing it rightly. Yeah, you can watch a lot of people, like I said. Do it, go ahead and do it by yourself. Try it out. But ensure that you are not wasting time trying to figure things out when there are people who have actually gone ahead of you. I share this information on LinkedIn. A lot of great guys on there online are doing the same thing. Make use of them. Don't just read them, scroll over, like them, and don't act on it. That's what I have seen. A lot of people just read and they don't use it. These informations are useful because it didn't work for you 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Doesn't mean it's not working. Maybe you are not applying it the right way, or it's not yet time for you, but you have to keep on doing it. The same information is out there. We just keep repeating it to you. Outreach, learn how to reach out to them. So we give you a visibility playbook. You see, how to reach out to recruiters these days is something you need. Like you said, form a connection, build a connection with them. Stop waiting for them to come to you. They are searching for you, but there's a lot of people trying to get to them. Make it easier. They are coming this way, you are joining them, not waiting for them. Before they get to you, somebody else had intercepted. Do you understand that? So you have to be able to communicate with them. You have to be able to reach out to them. And I mentioned CV Library, I mentioned LinkedIn, where you can get their contact and send messages, build that confidence, send proposals to clients and organizations. Learn how to negotiate. Those things are like will be coming at the end, but sometimes people fall off on the negotiation, get to this level and they are unable to negotiate properly, or they just say the wrong thing, and then they start to doubt their skills, or maybe it doesn't just work for the organization, and then that is it. Then an experience is gained either through volunteering or an internship. And I told you that one of the opportunities we have created is to give you the opportunity to work with our non-profit organizations or just on Vividex kind of clients or projects. And this is based on their requirements or their needs. Yesterday, I was still talking to somebody and he says, we need interns, people we wouldn't need to pay a lot more of money to, or perhaps they can work for us and help us start. Startups, for example, or non-profit making, who are still trying to get themselves together. Those are the people we work with at Dividend. So connecting you to that opportunity, as you are building all these skills, you are also building real skills in the industry. And what you get is that UK experience and the UK reference from there. And that's why I wrote it here, UK-based reference. You begin, reference. You begin to communicate with recruiters as well and stakeholders. You understand how they relate, you understand their business problem, so that when they ask you at interviews, stakeholder management, you have done it before. Communication, you have been able to improve your communication over time. And then what people lack every time, is actually the end-to-end system that takes you from learning to results, that is to the transformation you need, not just tools, real projects, real experience, mentorship and accountability. A lot of us lack that, and it's okay because you don't have anybody you're reporting to. So it's very easy for you to sleep on it or slack on it. And then portfolios, like I said, they are good, but beyond that, you need real experiences. Yeah, there are also portfolios if you think about it in a way, but they have different levels. If you have portfolios and then you have real experience in the industry, it just makes sense. So you have the perfect combo. So recruiters can refer to that. They can be attracted to you based on that. They can tell the hiring manager some things about you that made you stand out as a candidate. And all those things, I tell you there that we have the opportunity for you. And I promise during in the post that we'll be giving out about 5,000 worth or pounds worth of tuition waiver, form of scholarship for people interested in joining either the boot camp or the accelerator program to gain all this opportunity. And this is going to end by evening today, 11:59. I want you to reach out either to me privately, okay, or to LCFA, message LCFA directly. Somebody will be responding to you. This, if you want to take advantage of this, just have a slot for 5 people. Okay, look at what, if this is what you're looking for and you are sure that this is solve your problem, you are in the UK, I want you to jump on this. Now this we're giving out freely today, and by tomorrow it will end, and then we're wrapping up the cohort. I mentioned earlier that this cohort has started, but others are onboarding currently. Once we are done with this cohort, we close the door, and then that is it, so that we can focus. We have managers you'll be reporting to, and you have team members that you'll be working together. Organizations waiting for problems and solutions to their problems. So we need you as much as you need us. You understand? And like I said, all the things you are learning beyond just the tools. So if you're just starting, you're learning all these things. I think you need to jump on it as quickly as possible. If this is what you've been waiting for, you've been doing this alone because somebody is saying, "How can I get into the what's it called, the internship?" Reach out, drop a message today, and let's jump on it. Thank you very much. Because of our time, it's been more than 2 hours of conversations, insightful ones, deep conversations. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a great evening. For if you have stayed through till this time, I must commend your effort, and I know because you're serious about your getting result, and that's why you have stayed to the end there. I want you to take all the information you've gotten over this call and act on them as you move on to this week. Call recruiters, connect with them, pick up their phone numbers, get it on CV Library, send them messages. Don't just send CVs, apply on time, use the Boolean search, use the filters, change the timestamp. Just change a lot of things about your system right now. Review your CVs, and if you need help reviewing your CVs or you've been doing it and you're like, what is happening? No one is calling you. If you're in the UK especially, just reach out to me because I'm here right now, and this I can connect with you. I understand what you're going through. I've been through the journey. I also faced all these things and then we brought up solutions that could help you solve the problem. Thank you very much, people. And I think this is where we close the curtain for today. Love you guys. Bye.